Welcome to Craving the Heat, where desire takes the lead and every story leaves you wanting more. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments and keep up with our latest naughty stories. Linda had always prided herself on her strength. She had built a life that many would envy: stable career, wonderful friends, and a warm home. Yet, despite all the outward signs of success, something had always felt incomplete. Her heart often felt like it was waiting for a connection deeper than the day-to-day rhythms of life. Then, she met Alex. At first, it was just a spark, a glance shared across the room at a mutual friend's wedding. He was standing near the open window, his eyes reflecting the dimming light of the evening. It caught her gaze, and for a moment everything else faded away. There was no immediate reason for the attraction, but it was undeniable. It was as if the universe had whispered to her in that brief moment, urging her to move beyond the safe confines of her routine and into something unexpected. Weeks passed after that fleeting moment, and though she couldn't shake the feeling of his presence, life carried on. But when they bumped into each other at a mutual cafe one morning, it felt like fate had set its wheels in motion. There was something in his eyes, a warmth and sincerity that immediately drew her in. They began to talk. At first, it was casual, but with each conversation, the connection between them grew stronger, more electric. Alex wasn't just charming. He was deeply thoughtful, the kind of person who made you feel like you were the only one in the room. He listened, really listened to everything she said. Her dreams, her frustrations, her fears. He made her feel safe enough to share the pieces of her soul she had long kept locked away. Linda couldn't deny the growing feelings inside her. She hadn't expected this, hadn't anticipated that a connection like this would happen. But life has a way of surprising you when you least expect it. One evening, after a long day, they met at the same cafe. It was the quiet before the storm, a late summer evening where the world outside felt just a bit too busy, and the room was filled with the murmur of quiet conversations. Alex reached across the table, his fingers brushing gently against hers. It was subtle, tender, and filled with an undeniable promise. "Linda," he said softly, his voice warm and inviting. "I don't want to just be a passing moment in your life. I want to be someone who stands by you through everything. I want to know you completely, not just the parts you share with the world." Her heart skipped a beat. His words, so simple, yet so sincere, resonated deep within her. There was a part of her that had always held back, afraid of being too vulnerable, of giving too much. But with Alex, everything felt different. She nodded, the weight of her feelings bubbling to the surface. "I feel the same way, Alex. It's just ... There's always been this fear inside me that letting go might mean losing control of everything I've built." Alex smiled gently, his thumb stroking the back of her hand. "What if, instead of losing control, you gain something even better? A love that doesn't try to control you, but instead helps you become everything you've always wanted to be?" Tears welled up in Linda's eyes as she felt the depth of his sincerity. She had never allowed herself to be this open, to love in this way. But with him, everything seemed possible. The future didn't feel like a looming mystery. It felt like a beautiful, endless horizon that she could walk alongside him. And in that moment, everything changed. The walls that had been built over years of guardedness began to crumble. She didn't just see Alex. She saw herself, the woman she had kept hidden from the world. The one who desired love not for the security it offered, but for the freedom to be fully, unapologetically herself. They leaned in then, their lips meeting softly, tentatively at first, as if testing the depth of what was between them. The kiss was nothing like she had ever experienced, gentle, full of quiet intensity. It was a connection that went beyond the physical, a bond that reached into the very essence of who they were. The kiss deepened, the world around them falling away as they lost themselves in each other. There was no rush, no urgency, just the feeling of two souls coming together, slowly, intimately, and with the understanding that this was only the beginning. Later, as they stood outside in the cool evening air, their hands intertwined, Alex whispered into her ear, "I don't want this moment to end. Linda's heart was full, overflowing with emotions she hadn't allowed herself to feel in years. "Neither do I," she said, her voice soft but steady. And from that moment, everything changed. The quiet nights spent talking about their hopes, and dreams turned into passionate days, each moment shared with Alex a reminder of the connection she'd been craving all along. They explored new places, new feelings, and rediscovered the love that was always meant to be. One afternoon, while watching the sunset from a hilltop they discovered together, Linda looked at Alex and whispered, "I never knew that love could feel like this. It's not just the passion, it's the peace, the certainty that I found someone who truly sees me." Alex turned to her, his expression full of love and admiration. "You've always been seen, Linda. You've just needed someone to remind you how beautiful your heart really is." And in that moment, as the sky blazed with the colors of the setting sun, they both knew that their love wasn't just a fleeting spark, it was a flame that would burn bright for years to come. The next few months passed in a blur of laughter, deep conversations, and shared experiences. It wasn't always easy, but together, they built a life that was rooted in love, trust, and mutual respect. They didn't need grand gestures or dramatic declarations. They just needed each other. Linda looked at Alex one evening as they sat in their cozy living room, sipping wine, and with a smile that could light up the world, sighed, "I'm so glad I took that chance. I'm so glad I let myself love you." And as Alex kissed her forehead softly, he replied, "I'm glad too. You're the best thing that ever happened to me." And from that moment forward, their love was a steady, constant flame, one that never wavered, never dimmed. It wasn't always perfect, but it was real. And that was all they ever needed. They had found what they were looking for, not in the search for passion, but in the quiet, steady love that grew stronger with each passing day. As time passed, Linda and Alex grew even closer, their love becoming the anchor they both needed. Their connection wasn't just about romance, though that spark remained ever present. It was about understanding, laughter, and the comfort of knowing they had each other to lean on. Their bond deepened, not only through the exciting adventures they shared, but through the quiet moments when they simply existed in each other's presence. One rainy afternoon, while curled up on the couch, Linda rested her head on Alex's shoulder. The world outside was muted by the steady rhythm of raindrops against the windows, and inside, the warmth of their home enveloped them in a peaceful silence. "I've been thinking," Linda said, her voice soft, "about how we got here. How everything seems so right now." Alex smiled and gently tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "I think it was meant to be. We were both ready for something real." Linda nodded, closing her eyes for a moment, letting the feeling of his presence wash over her. "I've never felt more at home with someone, not just in the big moments, but in the little ones too." She lifted her head slightly to look at him, her fingers brushing against the back of his hand. "It's in the way you listen when I talk about my day or how you hold me when things feel overwhelming. It's not just the love, it's the kindness." Alex kissed the top of her head, a simple but meaningful gesture that made her heart swell. "You make me want to be better. You remind me that love is more than just passion. It's about being there for each other when it matters." They shared a quiet, contented look, the kind that said more than words could express. In that moment, Linda realized that this was the depth she had been searching for. It wasn't the fireworks that came with new love, but the steady, quiet joy that came with knowing they were building a life together, one moment at a time. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, their relationship continued to grow. They made plans for the future, small ones and big ones, and each promise felt more meaningful than the last. They knew that life would have its challenges, but they also knew that whatever came their way, they had each other. One afternoon, while walking through a park near their apartment, Alex turned to her with a gleam in his eye. "You know, I've been thinking about something. I think it's time we take the next step." Linda looked at him curiously, her heart skipping a beat. "What do you mean? I mean, he said with a grin, it's time for us to get a place together. A home that's ours where we can build our future. Linda's heart soared as she realized what he was saying. They had already built a life together, but this was a new chapter, a tangible manifestation of their commitment to each other. Yes, she whispered, smiling brightly. Let's do it. Let's build something together, a place where we can create even more memories. That night, they sat on the couch, their heads leaning against each other as they made plans for their future home. They picked out colors for the walls, imagined the furniture, and laughed at how many little details they had to consider. The excitement of what was to come was palpable, but so was the deep contentment of knowing they were on this journey together as the weeks went by. The apartment search became more real, more tangible. They found a place that felt like the perfect fit, a small 2-bedroom apartment with large windows and lots of natural light. It wasn't a grand house, but it was theirs, and that made it perfect. On moving day, as they unpacked boxes and rearranged furniture, there was a sense of calm between them. They didn't need to say much. It was clear that this was their next step, and both of them were ready for it. The laughter, the way they playfully bickered over where the couch should go, the warmth of the shared moments, it was exactly what they had been working toward. Later that evening, after everything had been unpacked and they sat on the couch, in their new living room, Linda looked at Alex, her heart full. This feels right. This ... this is home. Alex smiled, pulling her closer as he kissed her forehead. As long as I'm with you, every place is home. They sat there in silence. For a moment, simply enjoying the peace and quiet of the room. It was no longer just a place to live. It was their home, a place filled with love, promise, and the memories they would continue to create together as they lay in bed that night. Linda rested her head on Alex's chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. She knew that, like their relationship, their journey was not about one big moment, but about a series of small, significant moments that added up to something beautiful. I'm so happy we're here, she whispered, her voice barely audible. I am too. Alex whispered back, his fingers tracing small patterns on her arm. And I promise, this is only the beginning. The next morning, as they sipped coffee together in their new home, the world felt full of possibilities. Linda looked around, smiling as she realized how far they had come together. The challenges, the questions, the confusion, all of it had led them here to this moment. And in this moment, she knew that their love was something strong enough to carry them through anything that might come next. Together, they had built a foundation that was unshakable, a love that was tender and passionate, steady and unyielding. They had found each other when they were both ready to give and receive love in its truest form, and now they were ready for whatever the future held. As long as they were together, and in that moment, Linda felt truly at peace, knowing that the love they shared was everything she had always wanted, a love that was deep, enduring, and full of promise. The journey they had begun was only just starting, and with Alex by her side, Linda knew it would be a beautiful adventure. As the weeks turned into months, Linda and Alex settled into their new life together. Their days were filled with the usual mix of work, errands, and responsibilities, but there was something different now. They had a foundation, one built on the love they had for each other and the home they had created together. It was a new chapter, one they were both eager to embrace, but it wasn't just the quiet moments of daily life that brought them closer. There was something about their connection, something about the way they touched, the way they looked at each other that made their bond feel electric. Despite the comfort of their routine, the passion between them never seemed to wane. If anything, it only grew stronger. One evening, after a long day, they found themselves alone in their living room. The sky outside had turned to twilight, casting a soft, golden glow into the room. Linda sat on the couch, flipping through a book, while Alex stood by the window, gazing out at the city skyline. The air between them was comfortable, but Linda could feel something simmering beneath the surface, a quiet, unspoken tension that both of them were aware of. Without a word, Alex walked over to her, his eyes dark with intent. Linda looked up, meeting his gaze, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still. There was something in the way he looked at her, something raw and powerful, that made her heart race. Alex didn't say anything at first. Instead, he knelt in front of her, his hands resting gently on her knees as he leaned in, brushing his lips against her neck. Linda closed her eyes, a shiver running down her spine. She hadn't realized how much she had missed his touch, how much she had craved the intimacy that only he could give her. "I want you," Alex whispered, his voice low and husky. "I need you, Linda." Linda's breath caught in her throat. She could feel the heat between them growing, a palpable tension that filled the space around them. There was no hesitation now, no uncertainty. All that mattered was the connection they shared, the bond they had built over time. She tilted her head back, offering him more of her skin, her heart racing with anticipation. "Then take me," she murmured, her voice trembling with desire. Without another word, Alex's hands moved to her waist, lifting her gently off the couch and pulling her into his arms. Their lips met in a kiss that was desperate, hungry, a kiss that spoke of everything they had been holding back, everything they had been waiting for. Linda's hands roamed over his chest, feeling the warmth of his skin, the strength of his muscles. She pulled him closer, urging him to deepen the kiss, to take more, to give more. Their bodies pressed together, each movement filled with urgency, as if they were both trying to make up for lost time. With each kiss, each touch, the fire between them grew. Alex's hands slid under her shirt, his fingertips grazing the soft skin of her back. Linda gasped, her body responding to his touch with an intensity that left her breathless. She had forgotten what it felt like to be wanted, to feel this alive in someone's arms. They moved together, their bodies entwining in a slow, sensual rhythm that left them both breathless. There was no rush, no need for words. It was just the two of them, lost in the intensity of the moment. Their love was more than passion. It was a reunion of two souls, coming together in the most intimate way. Linda's hands roamed down Alex's back, tracing the line of his spine before moving to his waistband. She felt the muscles in his back tense, his breath quickening as her fingers explored his skin. She knew exactly what she wanted, and she could feel that he was just as eager to give it to her. With one swift motion, they undressed each other, shedding the layers that had kept them apart for too long. Linda's heart pounded as Alex's hands roamed over her body, his touch both tender and intense. She had never felt so alive, so in tune with another person. Their love was not just physical. It was emotional, a deep connection that transcended everything. When they finally came together, it wasn't just about the physical pleasure. It was about something deeper. It was about trust, about vulnerability, about knowing that they had built something that was theirs alone. Their bodies moved together in a dance that was both slow and urgent, each touch, each kiss a reaffirmation of the love they shared. As they reached the peak of their passion, the world around them faded away. It was just the two of them, wrapped in the warmth of their love, their hearts beating as one. The connection they had found was not just about sex. It was about rediscovering each other, about remembering what it felt like to be completely, utterly in love. Afterward, they lay together, their bodies intertwined, their breaths still coming in ragged gasps. Linda rested her head on Alex's chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. She felt at peace, content in a way she hadn't felt in months. The intimacy they shared wasn't just about the physical. It was about the emotional depth of their connection. The way they had rediscovered something beautiful between them. "I love you," Linda whispered, her voice soft and sincere. Alex smiled, his hand gently stroking her hair. "I love you too, more than you know." And as they lay there, wrapped in each other's arms, Linda realized that their love was something that had evolved. It wasn't just about the passion, it was about the deep, unwavering connection they had. The passion would always be there, but it was the love that truly sustained them. Together, they had rediscovered not only each other but themselves. The fire had been rekindled, and it burned brighter than ever before. And as the night wore on, Linda and Alex drifted off to sleep, knowing that their love would continue to grow, their passion forever intertwined with the deep, unshakable bond they had built together. As the days passed, Linda and Alex found a new rhythm in their relationship. The weekend getaway had reignited something within them both, and now, back in their daily lives, they carried that spark with them. They made it a priority to spend more time together, to create moments of intimacy that went beyond the physical. The connection they had rediscovered was deeper than just lust. It was emotional, spiritual, and lasting. In the mornings, they would have breakfast together, enjoying quiet moments over coffee, talking about their plans for the day. Linda realized how much she had missed the simplicity of these moments, the way Alex would listen attentively when she spoke, the way they could laugh together over the smallest things. It was these little moments that made her feel grounded, that made her remember why she fell in love with him in the first place. One evening, as they sat on the couch after dinner, Alex turned to her with a thoughtful expression. "Linda, he began, his voice soft. "I feel like we've really found something special, haven't we?" Linda smiled, her heart swelling with affection. "I think we have," she said, her hand resting on his. "But it's more than that, isn't it? It's not just about the passion, it's about what we've built together, how we understand each other on a deeper level now." Alex nodded, squeezing her hand gently. "It's like we're not just partners anymore, we're a team, a real one." Linda's heart fluttered. "A team," she echoed. The word resonated with her. That was exactly what they were, becoming, partners who shared everything, from the mundane to the extraordinary. And that made her feel safe, loved, complete. Later that night, when they found themselves alone again, the atmosphere between them was thick with intimacy. There was no rush this time, no pressure. It was as though the bond they had forged during their physical connection had deepened into something much more profound. Linda slowly undressed, her movements deliberate but unhurried, as she took her time to let Alex see her, to feel the vulnerability that she had once kept hidden. She wanted him to know all of her, the parts of herself that were soft, fragile, and the parts that were bold and unafraid. Alex, too, removed his clothes with a calm confidence, but his eyes were filled with something more, a quiet hunger. Yes, but also an appreciation for everything Linda was. When they came together again, it wasn't just about the physical act. It was a reunion of two souls who had wandered apart and now found their way back to each other. Their kisses were slow, lingering, as if they were savoring every moment. Alex's hands caressed Linda's body with a tenderness that made her heart race, reminding her of just how much he truly cared. Linda responded in kind, her hands exploring the contours of his body, feeling the strength of him beneath her fingertips. It wasn't just about the heat between them, but about the connection, both physical and emotional, that had become unbreakable. They moved together, not in a frenzy, but in a slow, deliberate rhythm, as though they were learning each other anew. Each touch, each kiss, each whisper was a celebration of their rediscovery. There was no rush, no urgency. They were both in tune with each other's bodies, their hearts beating as one. The passion between them was as intense as it was tender, building and building until they reached that peak, a release that wasn't just physical, but emotional. They came together in a flood of feeling, each of them holding on to the other as though they would never let go. It was a quiet surrender to the love they had found in each other. Afterward, they lay in the soft glow of the evening light, their bodies tangled together, their breaths still coming in soft gasps. There were no words needed between them. Everything that needed to be said was already in their shared silence, the closeness, the warmth, the unspoken understanding that they had rediscovered something that could never be lost again. Linda rested her head on Alex's chest, her hand resting over his heart. She could feel the steady beat beneath her palm, a reminder of the foundation they had rebuilt together. As she closed her eyes, she felt a sense of peace settle over her. The uncertainty, the fear that had once clouded her heart, was gone. In its place was love, a love that had been tested, but had come through stronger than ever. "I love you, Alex," she whispered into the quiet. Alex smiled, pressing a kiss to the top of her head. I love you too, Linda, more than anything. And in that moment, as they lay together in the stillness of the night, Linda knew that the connection they had was more than just passion, it was trust. It was respect. It was a love that had been built over time, and that, Linda realized, was far more powerful than anything fleeting. Their love wasn't perfect, but it was real. And it was enough dot as they drifted to sleep, still wrapped in each other's arms. Linda knew they had found something beautiful together. A love that would last, a love built on both passion and partnership. And as the quiet night enveloped them, she knew that they would continue to grow together. Every day, every moment, as they wrote the next chapters of their story. And with that, the future looked brighter than it had in a long time.